Can you hear me? You can hear me now. Let me check this out. Okay. Turn up my mic volume a little bit. Check, check, check. Okay, looking better. Okay. All right, let's get to today's topic. Took a little break from the Daily Show for a little bit. I was trying to figure things out. I was not really happy with the viewership, right? The numbers were just not really where I felt like I was really moving forward in the correct way. But I still have a commitment to, Tulsi Tuesdays, which when I feel like I'm doing something for someone else, I feel like a higher level of, concern, and because it's not just me at that point, someone else is relying on me. But let's be real, okay? Within the Tulsi community, how many people are really following my Tulsi Tuesday podcast? How many views do I have? 0 again? Hey, I have some followers now, though. Actually, 4 people, so maybe it is catching on. Let's see. It's kind of early in the game to really kind of be making judgments, but I've been really thinking about retooling. Anyways, but so now one idea that I had was to become a little bit more topical based. So the thing is that with the Tulsi Tuesdays, one of the first guests that I wanted to have on was Cameron, who had actually done quite a bit of activity with me during the campaign down here in New York City. One of the very few that actually, jumped up super early, and he was definitely one of the guys who was making it happen, which I definitely appreciate. We did a bunch of podcasts together, but he had some technical issues for the first one. So, and now we're on the second one, and now I'm going to try to make a case for Tulsi Gabbard versus Jill Stein. I think this is actually an interesting topic, and one that deserves some discussion. So let's talk about it. So first of all, we take a look at 2020. It's actually quite an interesting year because, to tell you the truth, I think Jill Stein was many people's favorite candidate. Yeah, a lot of people liked Jill Stein. The thing is that things kind of got split, right? For some reason, Jill Stein didn't run this year. Not quite sure why. We know that also Howard Hawkins decided to run in this particular year's presidential race. Now, he also ran for I think, the New York or something, and he wasn't very exciting at that time. I know he's one of the founders of the Green Party. I know the Green Party has a very socialist background, just coming from way back. Actually, the first way that I ever met the Green Party was actually through a socialist organization. So, Jill Stein, if we take a look at her qualifications, she was pretty well spoken, but I felt like sometimes she would be a little bit out there. I know sometimes people feel that's the same way about Tulsi, but I feel like Tulsi is a little bit more grounded. And let's take a look at another thing. They both come from a medical background, but the thing is that Tulsi has more of a combat background, right? So I do feel that Tulsi has more on-the-ground experience as in terms of how the money is being misspent overseas, which I know is a huge issue. Not only that, but also, what else about, okay, so the thing is that, right, it's really hard to tell, because what's Tulsi's connection to the ground? What's Tulsi's connection to people like myself who are not necessarily, right, big shots? Is she ready to continue listening to us? Do we is our voices ones that she says by the people, other people, for the people, and sounds great, right? A lot of politicians sound great. So coming from a Christian background, right, one of the things that I really appreciate is sacrifice. And the thing is that we can see that Tulsi basically got herself a lot of people say, oh, AOC, right, you want to be one-term congresswoman, blah blah, do all this stuff, right? Yeah, but then Tulsi Gabbard did it, and she's not really backed up. So we can see AOC got a clear message. If I do what y'all want me to do, right, what's going to happen? They're going to end with Tulsi Gabbard kicked to the side, and nobody's going to take care of me. Same thing, by the way, happened to Jill Stein to a certain extent, right? She was called all kinds of dirty names. She was also in this thing, Hillary Clinton suggests versions of grooming Tulsi, and she also mentioned Jill Stein, which is anybody coming from the progressive left, right, or possibly even other candidates, right? But anybody coming from the left is definitely going to be Russian if you're against Hillary Clinton, which is just bizarre and strange. And it doesn't matter even if you fought for a country while Hillary Clinton's lying about like dodging sniper bullets. It's ridiculous, yeah? So the thing is that I do feel like when it comes to being on the ground while Jill Stein is operating as a doctor, and she does get to see people like in the tough moments, right? She also has a lot of power in that situation. She has a lot of influence. She's also someone who's like kind of like been deemed by the establishment, right, with her certification to be official or okay to do these kinds of these procedures. So she kind of represents in that way. If I went to a hospital, right, in some ways, right, it sounds weird, right? You might think that she's a strong anti-establishment character, but being a doctor kind of puts you in the establishment to a certain extent, yeah? Not saying, now being a House of Representatives definitely puts you in the establishment as well, right? So that doesn't clear Tulsi, but I feel like if you are a soldier, it doesn't have the same, while it does command respect, it doesn't have that same feeling of class or we make your words worth more than ours. Yeah, a lot of times people who are veterans, right, while we do appreciate the sacrifice, people don't really look to them to be authority figures to talk about, which they should be, right? Talking about, like, you know, how money's spent in wars and things like that. Actually, I need to follow up more with Veterans for Peace. We had been doing some talking after getting so I guess some of this is quite personal for me. Yeah, I've done a lot of work which was not really asked for from Tulsi's people, so I can't really say that they're responsible in any way. But I did a lot of work for them, and my contributions are definitely unrecognized. People with big followings are recognized. And if we're talking about like building a new revolution of values, if we're talking about building, really changing things, are we really ready to change those things ourselves, or is that the path to power that we have to ascend? So if we look at Tulsi versus Jill Stein, if I was given the choice today, right? Yeah, if they were both something happened right now, you could choose Tulsi or Jill Stein for president right now. I have concerns about both of them, to tell you the truth. Neither of them is perfect. I don't really know. Yeah, it's that. Look, the thing is that, right, Tulsi's been real quiet about. And I know that she's done so much for us. She's been fought in 2 wars. She's been in the House of Representatives for a long time. And everybody deserves a break. I took a break recently, right? Yeah, people need to take breaks and stuff like that. That's real. And Jill Stein is really kind of like a little bit quieter nowadays too, right? Or maybe they're just not paying attention to her in the ways that trying to make things happen. So, I just feel like Tulsi has more experience dealing with corruption directly in House of Representatives, and also, right, her combat experience is a sacrifice that I deeply appreciate. And when people have to really confront life and death, that can sometimes give them the strength to fight against, right, what the rest of society says that money is all you need. But if you're looking at a sign that says, "Is today the day where I could die?" Right? What am I going to do? Die rich? So what? What's that money going to do? Nothing. If they're really the ability to leave a legacy, to make a lasting change for your community, for the rest of mankind, hopefully even your family. Which, to tell you the truth, I don't have much of a family. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is that I can also appreciate not having family to a certain extent, right? Like, other people get worked up, they're like, oh, there was family reunion, and like there's fighting, and like my parents are kind of fucking crazy, blah blah blah. I've met people who've had to like raise their parents, right? Or their parents had like severe handicaps, things like that, and I don't have to worry about those things. I just don't. So the fact of the matter is that, you know, in a way, it's freed me in a certain way. Yeah. Anyways, so we tell us why am I talking about the family thing? Well, the thing is that also a lot of times family gets involved in this. We know, like, the Joe Biden, the Hunter Biden business, yeah. And we take a look at the connections of Tulsi's family within her campaign staff. And it wasn't like that was her first choice, but, you know, the people that she hired, they actually end up running away because I think that Bernie's people got to them and said, you know, we know that you were Bernie friendly, but, you know, since Bernie's decided to run, you're seen as a competition, then we don't want to play that game. So, oh well, we'll see what happens in 2024 though, when Bernie is, you know, not running. It's gonna be nuts, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I guess right now I would go for Tulsi, but honestly, I would like to hear more from Tulsi nowadays. I'm worried now that Tulsi may have burned out, and she's taking a break. She's pushed back the book. She's pushed back the podcast. You know, is her heart still in it, you know? She had a very rough experience getting treated like shit during the presidential primaries. So, you know, that had to suck. I know she's been through a lot of bullshit. Any reasonable person would want to quit getting treated like shit, right? I mean, I can't blame her for even a fucking second, but it would really, and part of her wants to stay. I know she's a fighter, but you're either in or you're out, yeah? And right now, I'm working in a lot of places where Tulsi's not there. So, it's just a fact, yeah? Tulsi supporters are there. MPP, fighting the good fight, things like that, but oh well, yeah? Just on other news, just so you know, I probably shared this last week at my first Tulsi Tuesday. But remember that Tulsi has actually officially, right, her PAC has actually funded Nina Turner. So that's a ship she decided to cross, yeah? Remember that Nina's actually potentially her greatest competitor, right? Yeah, technically, right? Remember, they're also friends, right? Yeah? Remember, people who are fighters can be friends, you know? They can have respect for each other in the game. Sometimes it gets disrespectful, whatever, right? Sometimes when you're fighting each other, but the fact of the matter is that you're going to understand someone else who's in that field more than someone who's not in that field. You understand how they think, what they're looking at, right? What's important to them, yeah? Versus a lot of the fans of Tulsi who I see on Tulsi Locals, and some of them are, you know, saying things that, you know, that honestly probably Tulsi would not be happy with, but, you know, they probably think she would be happy with it. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on here, yeah? And it's a tricky game to keep the support while juggling it. So, Jill Stein, another way that we can kind of see the difference between Jill Stein and Tulsi Gabbard is when they both ended up in, where did they go to? They both went to the North Dakota Access Pipeline thing, right? Yeah? Now, whereas Tulsi did actually show up, whereas Warren did not, right? Yeah? Being Native American or indigenous, right, in background, they had actually a little bit more, you know, something to say on this particular issue. Warren didn't show up for some reason. Disappointing as usual, yeah. But Tulsi showed up, and which was pretty cool. But remember that Jill Stein actually got herself arrested, hitting up the, you know, the construction machines. Now remember that, you know, people might say, oh, so Jill Stein went harder than Tulsi. But the thing is that, right, let's suppose that you're a cop, yeah, and then you hear that, you know, someone who was running for the Green Party is, you know, making trouble, so you arrest them. Okay, then you hear that an active congressperson, right, yeah, an active House of Representatives member is doing something, right, and I don't think that she actually defaced any property. That would be destruction of property. But I get the protest, right, but even if she did, right, I think that there would be if I was that officer, I would say, unless there was a direct complaint of that company asking me to arrest her, and even then I would try to work it out first before I made an arrest, because arresting a congressperson is fucking nuts. Yeah. Not that I wouldn't do it if it was really called for, but at a protest, right, where they're trying to fight for, people's rights and stuff like that. Like if they did clear like stealing or something, and I could arrest them, right, for clear wrongdoing, that's easy. But if they're protesting, right, people's rights to like access drinking water, and it's a congressperson doing that, I think it's harder to arrest that person, just personally. Yeah, I think a lot of people would hesitate to make that arrest before, right, arresting someone like Jill Stein. So does that mean though that Tulsi had opportunity to go further but didn't? It's hard to say, because she's gone so far on so many topics, enough to the point where she got herself kicked out. So that's kind of where the whole thing ended up. So I'm actually have still a lot of questions for Tulsi Gabbard and Tulsi Gabbard's campaign. I don't think those questions will ever be answered. I'm gonna reach out to Jill Stein and see if she gets back to me. Whoever gets back to me, really, whoever's willing to have a discussion, and I think that should be true for y'all too. Yeah. Look, I used to be a big Jimmy Dore fan. I shouted him out, right? I was the first person that forced to vote to document on video action on forced to vote, which was completely ignored by Jimmy Dore to protect Nick Brana, and he got all the rest of the progressive media to line up and to ignore me, to help a friend that engaged in racist and demeaning and non-democratic. They have the nerve to call it People's Party. It should be called Nick Brana and fucking Jimmy Dore's Grift fucking Party. Yeah. But there's still some potential there. The movement is more than just the people, and Jill Stein supporters versus Tulsi Gabbard supporters. Because remember I said it's really about the base, right? So the thing is that the Jill Stein supporters are actually, especially with the recent events from the primary, I think she had endorsed Howard Hawkins, which was actually controversial amongst quite a few Green Party members. But having been in the Green Party for all these years, I'm telling you that this is not the first time there's been leadership struggle within a third party. I mean, the Libertarian Party also just has been fucking burning in flames, right? Yeah, and sometimes these flames make us stronger. Pops out to Flame of Liberty, right? I think she just got booted for some shenanigans, but people that are willing to fight for it, people that are willing to take a stand, right? Even they won't be right all the time, but they're the people who are going to make things happen. So it's time to get to know those people. Yeah. So I didn't want to, the Tulsi community, if anybody's watching, or if anybody does watch, I didn't want to let anybody down. I'm going to discuss more. I'm really trying to put the things into place to really start to develop a relationship with these community organizations in a more visceral way. Once again, I'm going to reach out to these people. A lot of these celebrities just don't have time for someone like myself, no matter how good my ideas are. And they have time for grifters and pretenders and fake ass whack people that have a following. Because in the end, it's not about me. It's not about Tulsi. It's not about Jill Stein. It's about our movement and who we have within that group. So it's a tough decision for me. Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about Tulsi and Jill Stein, but I do believe that they are our best options at the current time. And actually, I do think that many people said that Tulsi was a once-in-a-lifetime candidate, and for me, that's definitely true. And whatever issues are going on, I definitely appreciate what she sacrificed. And I don't think a lot of people really recognize or understand what that is. It's amazing, but I know, because I'm a sacrificer too. Yeah, but my sacrifice left me with nothing. No family, no career, no job, no pension. Was that stupid? Maybe sometimes they say you gotta burn the bridges, you gotta burn the ships down, and make it so there's no way out but success or death, yeah? Doesn't sound like the best option, but listen, the reason why Asian American men are in this shitty place is because we lost our wars. We gotta stop fucking losing. We gotta start fighting to win. None of this fucking appeasement shit. We can negotiate, but no more accepting losing positions or, putting off dealing with our issues for someone maybe later to take care of it after their issues have all been solved. We've already seen proof that that's not going to happen. Also, the fact that Tulsi's connection to the Democratic Party, I know that's a huge turn off to many people, but to me that's a huge turn on. Yeah? The fact of the matter is that people like myself who are outsiders, who are not part of the Democratic community, they always try to take away our legitimacy by saying, oh, you're not a real Democrat, right? You just want to come in here and take our power from us, right? Which is maybe true, yeah. We could be friends and we could work out this deal, but yeah, that's the idea. To take the power away from the, corporate wealthy who think they're better than us and think they know better. Anyways, yeah. On some things they might, on other things they definitely don't, yeah. But if you look at these groups of supporters, and we see the Democrats, right, 44 million installed user base. The Green Party has not even been able to get to 5% in the election. And can the Green Party win? If the Green Party can win, right, if they can win the whole entire election, they should be able to take over the Democratic Party. They should be able to take over the Republican Party. They should be able to take over MPP or something. Anything. Yeah, they need to get practice instead of just sitting about it in their armchairs, right, and talking about it. They're doing some real things like ballot access, stuff like that, but they're also suing the state of New York as well as in coalition with the Libertarians for illegal ballot access, measures that they're taking, preventing third parties and independents from making things more difficult for them. It's ridiculous and weird and strange and obviously corrupt. And having someone who was actually a born Democrat from birth, yeah, you can't, right, to someone who was a Democrat in government nonetheless, right? You have a legacy, a family legacy, which Truer Dad was a Republican who turned to Democrat, still a Democrat, right? And that moved an essential seat and a region towards the Democrats. That's a huge move right there. That's a huge move, and that helped the Democrats greatly. Yeah, and kind of, they say Hawaii is a blue state. Part of that is thanks to, Mike Gabbard, possibly, yeah? So let's be fucking real about that, But remember, in this game, if it's not convenient, they don't talk about any of your successes or... I love that line by, was it Jadakiss or Styles P? I think it was Styles P, yeah? Do something... I'm black. Yeah, it was from that song, I'm black. Yeah, do something positive, it never gets mentioned. Do something negative, it gets all the attention. Yeah. Joe Stein, I think, is good. I actually think they're both better than, Biden or Trump. But if I had to choose between the two of them, because of the logistical factor of, and I know, right, could be some good arguments of saying, like, look, Tulsi only got 1% in New Hampshire, whatever. No, I think she got more than that, but The fact of the matter that was it 5%, like you know, or approaching whatever. But let's look at the numbers right now. Because Tulsi spent all her time right there. This isn't really a fair fight for Jill Stein, right? So let's take a look. Jill Stein, 2016 results. .07%. That's not bad of the popular vote. Okay. Tulsi. Okay, let's look at Gabbard 2020 results. Okay. She got any percentage? Anything? Don't really see. Yeah? Let's see New Hampshire. Let's see. Okay, she didn't really spend. Okay. She put signs up. Remember, this is within Democrats. Democrats are more against Tulsi than normal. 0. Oh well. Okay, let's see. What was the numbers here again? Klobuchar. How the fuck did she make that climb at the end? It makes no fucking sense. Okay. So 3%, that's polling. The results were 2 point. Okay, so it's 3.3, a little better, yeah. So she did okay. Not that great to tell you the truth, but 3.3% in a place where she campaigned heavily. So she had, like, you know, the funding, right? Which maybe after Sanders, right? Who knows what's gonna happen? Yeah, it's real weird. Also, the thing is that I work with different groups, right? Green Party, Libertarians, Democrats, and the Democrats' personnel is just more expensive. They have less hurdles to jump within the system. I mean, there's definitely hurdles to jump within the system, but if you're outside the system, there's even more hurdles. Okay? It's harder for, if AOC ran as an independent, it would be harder for her to win. That's just facts, yeah? Maybe that she has a name recognition, maybe she could pull it off now as a House of Representative member. She might be able to pull it off, seriously, right? Like Bernie Sanders did it, right? House of Representatives is the easiest way to do it. Senator, ooh, that's tougher. President, ooh, that's super tough. You know? Anyways, so I think she's scared to do it, right? You see how she's already bending over for the, you know, for the party leaders, because she's scared to piss them off, right? Why would she be? You think she's scared of nothing? Or do you think that these people have shown the ability to get things done? You know what I mean? Talk is cheap, yeah? What are you doing to fight this shit? To judge so harshly? You posting opinions on Twitter or some shit? Listen, get in the game, motherfucker, you know what I mean? Whatever. Anyways, yeah, and that goes out to Jill Stein and Tulsi Gabbard. Please get back in the game, yeah? Listen, history hasn't been written yet. The fact that I choose one person or the other could change tomorrow, yeah? Anything can change. Things are always moving. Everybody has to earn their place all the time, yeah? I still respect all the work that both of you have done, and I respect the work that I've done in the past, but the future continues to be written. And, you know, things are continuing to be at stake, so we'll see how this all cooks down. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that the audio was fine. And I hope that y'all tune in. Yeah, we'll see. Tell your friends about The Daily Show. Am I being suppressed? Probably. Probably. Does it matter? Who cares? Yeah, who cares? Fucking more. Alright, Tulsi Tuesdays, another one down, yeah? Hope you enjoyed.